Hello, my great and wonderful people. We welcome you all once again to our today's episode of this program. Now, we, the Nation Voice, the voice where they reveal the secret things when they say the government and the politicians that they say they cover. And today, you get this video when I want quickly review to Una concerning the two opposition party, the two T's. Let me just choose that word, APC and PDP. The interview when they say the ground, one they defend Buhari, and why other one they speak against them. Why? Because the PDP, for their own and the day perfect because of say not be the day of power, and the APC. Now the one when they decide of the one when the day also rock when they defend. So I will leave una make una watch this their argument. It be like say one when it be PDP, it be like say they talk sense. But for me, two of them are the same. So if they talk against because of say they don't come out for the seats. I will leave una make una watch this video. In case today na the first time when you be say they watch us for this channel, be this I beg make you not forget to help us press that red subscribe button and the small bell when they near so that anytime we upload a video again, you know go suffer to look for them. It will only come to you like a message. Our prayer always be said. They say we want to be say they support us for this channel. Now they say we want go with the same people when we they support you for everything when you go when you put your hands to do. In Jesus' name, Amen. I beg if you finish, may not forget to help us share this video and your comment also leave them for us on the comment section.
And you put another two, let's say we double the number. How long can the Nigerian economy afford not to work, especially within the heartbeat areas of Lagos and Ogun, the gateway and the big economy of Nigeria? That's why. The other problem that I also thought was the palliatives. You see, if you follow the Buhari presidency since they started this their social investment scheme, you will be sad that after close to 5 years, they don't have reasonable data that can tell them these are the people that were giving the money and this is how we're giving them the money. The last time when the president gave this instruction about 2 weeks ago, you saw that they ran to the street, put money on the table as if we're in Idi Amin's Uganda and were attempting to deliver palliatives by hand. And then you ask, what is the president saying to us as to what is the total number of people that have been tracked? How many people have been tested so that we can even know whether we're truly flattening the curve or we're just importing social distancing, lockdown, and strategies that some other societies who have all the data they need to be able to know where the people are, deliver money and all of that, resources, whatever they needed to do, we're impacting it in Nigeria, hook, line, and sister without looking at our own peculiarities. Some people have suggested that perhaps what we need to really be telling ourselves in Nigeria is the few people that have been taken in and have been released, by what medical protocol were they treated? So that, it's a bit of creativity. You can then begin to figure out maybe those people that are probably at home, may not be symptomatic, can be symptomatic, can at least begin to ride it together with us. And
so you don't like the apologies. You don't like the Nigeria's template of.
I think that
not just doing a blank jacket.
Yeah, I think that the Nigerian template is too lazy in thinking, in the sense that it's just taking what they say is happening somewhere else and it's impacting it here without looking at our fundamentals. And I'm also worried about the fact that all of the things that the president is saying and the states are saying, I can't see the local government here. The local governments are the ones that are best able to help you with this contact tracing, delivery of this and all of this palliative. So you feel that, okay, fine, the president is speaking now as against what his people used to say he didn't like to speak. It's not a style. He has a difference. So we can commend him for speaking. Right. In terms of the real deal.
Hold the bullet for a moment, the fire for a moment, because we have a bit more time to discuss some of these issues. But in essence, you are not impressed by the president's speech tonight.
I can't be impressed because when you listen to other presidents, Boris Johnson he has just come out of theater and you heard him speak. You see how animated, you see how connecting and all that. And then the president is speaking the same old, Hollywood style, come onto the table, read from it, dias. This is not the time for this.
Okay. What were you expecting?
I expected the president to take some questions. I expected the president to have like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 journalists come in there, top level journalists, so that they can give him the kinds of questions that Nigerians are asking. For instance, Nigerians in the fringes of Lagos and Ogun are worried as to what has become the security situation there. The president didn't talk about that.
Let's get Mr. Akinshiju to come into the conversation. Mr. Akinshiju, you heard what Mr. Showumi says there. He said he's not impressed by the style of the delivery of the president, first and foremost. Another area is that he picked on some of the areas the president has mentioned in his speech today. What would be your response to Mr. Showumi tonight?
Well, it's very clear. Of course, Showumi, my very good brother, is looking at this principally from the political point of view. And if I should also put it in perspective, his last impression of the president not connecting, not being captivating and all that, tells me I need to clarify the fact that the president is not a theater practitioner. He's the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And when he makes a presentation of this sort, he's supposed to be properly comported. And that is what the president had, gotten across to Nigerians. The important thing is the message and the content of the message. The content of the message are clear enough to the extent that even you can take bullet points of up to 9, on what the president spoke about. And for me, it shows a president that had been following up issues. It speaks to a president that is also proactive because he's the chief executive officer in this matter. He would have to aggregate all sorts and opinions from experts and, of course, distill them into his thought. And that is what he has delivered to us. Talking about palliative, I think we should even give the president the commendation and the credit to the fact that we actually have a social system, a social intervention, social investment system working for the first time in the history of Nigeria. It started in 2016. We've had governments before then. Nobody thought of a social investment intervention program. And it's because we had this starting off in 2016 that we have something to even build on an emergency like this. So you can imagine if we have to start tabula rasa on a matter like this. So if we are talking about palliative, it's about now expanding to cover more people, and that is what the president has said. We have a social register. The social register is not just a registration of poor people. It is about getting communities to identify their poor and list those poor in the social register. And to that extent, we have one that succeeds to now at 2.6 million households. Going forward, the president has said he had ordered that this the register be increased from 2.6 million to 3.6 million. And of course, all these households are not residented in Lagos, Ogun, and the FCT. It covers the whole gamut of the Nigerian space. So you don't expect it to land, you don't expect all these figures to land in terms of distributing to the household, in Lagos and Abuja and Ogun. Now, talking about how this is distributed, there are layers to it. The federal government had handed over the distribution of these palliatives to the state, which is the right thing to do in a federal system. You will now expect the state, of course, to link up with the local government to help in distribution.
Apologies, Mr. Akinshiju, if I'm aborting on that point that you made, you saw the conversation between the leadership of the National Assembly and the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs. They said they were not impressed and that there is no enough coverage for the poorest of the poor in the country. Are you worried that a lot of Nigerians may not be happy with the palliatives that have been put in place?
It's ongoing. Yes, a lot of Nigerians may not be happy. I agree, because in fact we have a large population of very poor, but out of the very poor you also have very, very poor, those that are non-economic agents, and the idea is what the president has been able to encapsulate in his presentation today: expand the register. Now, when expanding the register, you are expanding the register for for those at the bottom of the pyramid. Don't forget that there are other aspects of the social investment programs, like the traders' money, the market money, the farmers' money, and of course the N-Power and all that, that also cover other classifications, other categories of poor people. So to that extent, it means that we are not just looking at the conditional cash transfer that has become the major attention, the major locus of thought in recent times. It's this same. The people in the category of Shegun, they were more or less condemning this cash transfer when it was first introduced. It was the conviction of the president that actually pushed for the implementation and the sustenance of the cash transfer till today. So, whatever the case may be, for me, the important thing is an idea had been sown, it has yielded fruit, and now we only need to expand on its gains and benefits.
He's a spokesperson of the PDP Presidential Campaign Organization, as well as Mr. Niyi Akinshiju. He's the chairman of the Buhari Media Organization. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight. Let's look at some of the issues that were raised here in what the president has said. And going forward, how do we survive, especially those who are earning on a daily basis? Do you have a worry about that?
One of the other reasons why the speech failed to inspire me was that I thought that the president was going to say, for the frontline health workers, this is what I am going to do for you for your hazard allowances. Because it has become an issue in the country. You can't ask nurses and doctors and all of that to put themselves in all sorts of danger at this time. And even when you wanted to say thank you to them, they were coming very much later on in the body of this. After you have thanked the people that donated money, I expected him to have said, this is what I'm introducing for hazard to encourage you and to keep you going. I didn't hear that. And then, you see, the problem with our friends in the APC is that whereas we've seen them in opposition before, and we know how they behave, and because we choose not to be like them, they think that everything is political. We're not being political about this assignment. We're bringing up genuine concern that we hear from the people. There are two sides to this conversation. There are the people that they think are their lickspittles, who are their cheerleaders, who will just keep clapping no matter what is going on. And there are those who are going to be throwing up genuine concern. One of the things we see is that you have a social register, according to them, that has captured 11 million plus people over a couple of years. Abia is getting 141,000 households. Let's say Lagos is getting about 14,000 households. Zamfara is getting about 291 households. Ogun is getting nothing. Ogun is absolutely not even there, not even one household. Now you then ask, if the ones that you claim you're giving this money,
where are you getting your data from?
That is available. They are carrying it, and it's all over the place. National Social Register of Poor and Vulnerable Households.
As of when?
Distributed as of 31st of March 2020. Sheon, you know me well. Unless I research, I don't talk about it. Ogun got zipped. Then that's not my big issue. They will explain why I didn't get anything. The bigger problem is that you're telling us in the real sense of the word that you have distributed money to this number of people consistently over a certain number of years, and you don't have the data. You can't give us an audit. So invariably...
But they say, the president has said there is a register of about 2.6 million, which should be extended by 1 more million.
11 point something million. I heard the Senate president ask this question, and they came up with, if you publish their name, they'll be embarrassed. If you did this, they'll be this. If you did that. Listen, if you have been doing this for 5 years in the minimum, should you not have automated it? Why must you be happy that people that you call vulnerable, that you're ready to be giving money in a sustainable manner, cannot be plugged into the banking system?
Are you questioning the integrity of the process?
I am absolutely questioning the integrity of the process. And I am saying that we will be observant. We will stay at home. We will ride the curb. We'll do everything humanly possible. But we will audit this process when it is over. For it to be double jeopardy for Nigeria if underneath very dire circumstances, those who are in charge of our commonwealth will not be particularly judicious in the accountability of the state resources. That would be very unfortunate. So that's another one. Then when I was talking about security, if you go all over the internet, You will find rushes of people doing short videos of how they had to convert themselves into vigilantes just to manage to sleep in the fringes of these two states. I would have expected that if he was getting briefed as he should be getting briefed, I'd have expected him to have said something like, that will not be tolerated. Soldiers or police should, stamp their feet down. Just do something to, do show of force. That was also absent.
But the police said that they've arrested about 162 people.
Did the commander-in-chief speak to it?
So you were expecting the president to speak on that matter?
Because, do you know what it means when people get so emboldened until going into the street in the daytime?
But Mr. Showumi, maybe you have not gotten the memo. The president said he's not that kind of person. His aides have said he's not that kind of person. That he allows, he delegates, and he's not the kind of person who speaks.
Okay, what kind of person is he?
No, he's shown you the kind of person. So he has said he's not the kind of person that he speaks.
The kind of person that you want me to accept that the president of my country will be is one that does not measure up to his peers.
No.
Count me out of that.
On this platform, you have heard.
The presidency must measure to peer review of equals. There is nothing any president anywhere in the world can bring to the table that I don't expect that a Nigerian president can bring to the table. If I am guilty of holding him up to very, very high standards, then sorry, I stand condemned.
Mr. Akinshiju, you have a problem with some of the things Mr. Oshowumi said, especially because I've heard the aides of the president say, look, this is the style of the president. Aside of the style that Mr. Oshowumi is talking about compared to other presidents around the world, especially at this period, he mentioned the issue of the integrity of the process of disbursing some of these resources. What are your thoughts?
Well, let me start first from the reward, compensation for the soldiers at the front line, and I'm talking about earth workers. These are the super being at this time, and we appreciate them as the president actually made reference to them. I don't think the position of where the president referenced and appreciated this set of people in his speech, I don't think it matters. We should not trivialize things. A presidential message is a presidential message. Is a summary of briefings that would usually be in hundreds of pages, and the president is presented a 65-paragraph statement as message, as it were. You do not now expect him to reference virtually all happenings around those two states plus the FCTA in his plus the FCT in his message. That is one. Then two, talking about compensation for the health workers, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 had always been referencing this at every of their press briefing. The one they held today, they referenced it and talked specifically about how they are going to engage and reward and compensate, the health workers. I mean, that had been done when the matter had been. The president, like I said, is not a theater practitioner. It's not one that comes, to somersault and creates comic relief and all that. It talks to serious issues. The serious issues are also embedded in the, like an umbrella of matters and thoughts. I'm talking about our opposition, Our opposition back in the days were based on facts and figures. You are talking about now igniting new interest in the social register. We thank God that finally they have come to accept the fact that Nigerian poor were acknowledged by this government. And not that they are not acknowledged, they are being helped by this government within the little resources available to the Nigerian state. We cannot start comparing what we have now to what we used to have when they were in government, But despite that, even with what we have now, the president took a percentage of the little to take care of the Nigerian poor. Now, our friends in the PDP are more interested in what is being spent on the poor. Of course, the expenditures will be audited. We expect that. But more than ever, the National Assembly issued a statement, rebuting the way some media houses, published ingeniously, falsehood about the proceedings of the assembly concerning its engagement with the humanitarian ministry. So now, when you look at that, by extending the argument is that now a lot of the people in our opposition are decided in the way they carry fake news and all that, of course, to start creating disillusion, create disenchantment amongst the Nigerian people. But this does not remove from the fact that this president...
Just put a question in. Sorry. Mr. Akinshiju, just a quick question. What is your greatest fear about those who, and the president mentioned them, those who earn daily wages? If this is extended in this manner, some of them who are not captured, what is your greatest fear for them?
Yeah, just like the president mentioned, those who earn wages a day may not necessarily be poor, may not necessarily be in the category of very poor. What they lack usually is the capacity to save, and which means that they need to go out every day for sustenance. Now, what the president is doing with the Lagos state government, with the Ogun state government, that I know, and of course, what part of FCT is to fund, the government, the state government, and also provide directly all the food items that are possible from the federal. Don't forget that more than about 6 billion worth of seized goods from the customs have been released to these affected state governments. All they need to do is to link up with their local government and find a way of first identifying these people, because the social register, does not cover the whole gamut of the affected people that we are talking about now. It is because of the exigencies of this COVID-19 that a new challenge...
Mr. Akinshiju, just a moment. I want us to spend the very last few minutes that we have left on the program on the projections of the president. He has his fears about the economy and also for agriculture production. Those are major areas that the president has set up teams to work on. Let me begin with Mr. Showumi. Are you satisfied with what the president has said? He has set up a team
even on
the economy and that of agriculture.
Even on that, when you're a policy person, you are looking for the details. When it was reeling out, this minister for this, minister for that, this, that, I expected in the minimum that he's going to say, under this person's leadership. He couldn't even bring himself to say, this is the person that is going to be the chairman of the committee, this is going to be the secretary. So you expect that now, all of them are going to come. Anyway, we have always known that the economy is not their strong point. And we just pray that as we continue to insist that Atiku Abubakar keeps putting out ideas, that they should take the ones that are useful for them. For instance, very early in the stage, over and above the fact that we told them to shut down the airport quickly so that we'll be able to save the country, we also told them that you have about 38.5 million people on the BVN already. Therefore, you can look at their bank balances and get an idea of those who cannot even sustain themselves in a lockdown and put something in there directly. It won't be lost. They will get something. There will be a way you will touch them. They will know they got it. What did they say? They smiled and laughed and jumped and caricatured and wrote all sort of annoying press releases only to go and reduce us to Idi Amin's Uganda. Put Naira on the table, stand before it, and begin to embarrass everybody. You know what the problem is?